Hi everyone, I hope you're having a wonderful day. If you enjoy this video, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you won't miss the next stories. The blade bites deep into the red earth, sending pebbles and clods of soil flying. "Oh my God, it's huge," Huyen blurts out, half laughing, half panting. In front of her, a giant wild yam slowly reveals itself, round and wide like a serving tray. It must weigh at least 5 kilos. The forest sun beats down on her back, but right now, all she feels is excitement. Uncle Day braces his feet on the rocky ground, grips the handle of the shovel, and pulls hard. "Come on, you stubborn thing," he mutters. There's a sharp crack. Part of the yam snaps off. He almost falls backward. "No, such a waste," Huyen groans, watching a big chunk roll aside and crumble in the dust. For a second, regret flickers across her face, but then she catches Uncle D's sheepish grin and can't help laughing. "It's okay," she says, wiping sweat with the back of her hand. "Even broken, it'll still fill our bellies." They keep working side by side. The shovel bites into the hot ground, metal clinking against hidden stones. Sweat runs down their temples, soaks their shirts, drips onto the cracked soil. Each time a massive root is tugged free, their hearts leap a little. Some roots are long and twisted like giant snakes. Others come out perfectly round, their skin dusty gold under the dirt. Every single one is a promise. Chewy dough, fragrant cakes, maybe enough money to buy a bundle of notebooks. "When we get home," Huyen says, catching her breath, "we'll buy rice flour and beans for the filling. These will sell out at the morning market, you'll see." Her eyes spark with the kind of hope that doesn't dare speak too loudly. Uncle D looks at her, chest heaving, and nods. "If they taste as good as you imagine," he jokes, "we'll have customers lining up from the bus station." He wipes his brow, revealing scraped knuckles and tiny cuts from rocks hidden in the soil. Huyen's own fingers sting beneath her thin gloves, but between them they've already gathered a small mountain of roots. "Careful with your hands," he says quietly. "We can't afford for you to get hurt." Huyen smiles. "These hands were born to get hurt," she replies lightly. "As long as Maya can study, they can bleed a little more." The words hang in the hot air. They don't say anything for a moment, just keep digging. In this harsh forest, hope is carved into their tanned faces like extra lines. A good day like this means more than full stomachs. It could cover the family's food for weeks and pay for Maya's school books. By noon, their backs ache and their legs tremble. A pile of yams lies on a spread out sack, some whole, some broken, but all precious. D lifts one of the biggest roots with both hands and sets it carefully with the others. "Look at that," he says proudly. "The forest isn't so cruel after all." Huyen nods. "It gives to those who know how to ask nicely," she teases, and dig very, very deep. They laugh, their voices echoing briefly between the trees. The forest has seen their worst days. Empty pots, sleepless nights, and worry etched into their brows. Today feels different. With this simple harvest, the future doesn't look quite so far away. Back at the house, the sky is already fading into a softer blue. Thick gloves snug on her hands. Huyen settles on a low stool with the basket of yams beside her. She picks up a knife and begins to peel, careful and slow. The milky sap seeps out, clinging white to the gloves. She watches it closely. Her father's voice echoes in her mind from years ago. "Don't let that sap touch your skin, Huyen. One drop and you'll scratch for days." She smiles faintly at the memory. Dad peeled exactly like this, she says out loud, more to herself than anyone. Then he made cakes for me. I thought they were magic back then. Her voice cracks, just enough for Uncle D to hear. He sits down next to her with another basin and starts slicing the peeled roots into thin, even pieces. Each slice falls with a soft sound into the waiting basin. They were magic, he says gently. Any food that appears when you're starving is magic. Huyen swallows hard. Those nights with her father. Empty cupboards, growling stomach, but then suddenly the smell of yam cakes, sweet and warm. Now it's her turn to play the magician. Dee reaches for the bucket of clear lime water and slowly pours it over the slices until everything is fully submerged. The sharp lime scent fills the small yard. They both know they'll have to wait 5 or 6 hours for the bitterness to leach out of the yam. 5 or 6 hours between the work and the reward. 5 or 6 hours before tonight's dinner and tomorrow's chance at the market. We wait. Day sighs, stretching his sore shoulders. We planned. Huyen corrects him. Tomorrow, you'll help me carry the baskets, and Maya will help talk to customers. She's good at smiling. We'll sell out if she smiles. Day chuckles. She got that smile from you. Huyen leans her chin on her knees, looking at the cloud of slices floating in lime water. There's an old lady at the market, she murmurs. Her cakes are famous. People queue just to buy from her. I watched her hands last time. Her cakes are lumpy and crooked, but each is made with pride. Dee lines the steamer with banana leaves. Bibi circles under the table, tail wagging. You wait for the broken ones, Dee tells her. Soon the steamer is full. Water boils, sending up clouds of steam. The tiny kitchen fills with the warm smell of yam and beans. They sit on the old mat, waiting. Maya leans against her mother, eyelids heavy. Dee rubs his sore wrist. How many cakes is this? Maya mumbles. Enough for dinner and breakfast, Huyen replies. And if the rest are pretty, enough for the market. Enough for my notebooks? Maya asks. And maybe new sandals if we're lucky, Day adds. Her eyes pop open. Really? Only if you help sell, Huyen teases. A roof that doesn't leak when it rains. Deal, she whispers. Evening smoke curls lazily from the small clay stove as they clean up, rinse the basins, and stack the peeled scraps for the pig. Outside, the last light fades over the hills. Inside, love and sweat mingle with the scent of wild yams slowly being redeemed, slice by slice, turning from rough forest roots into tomorrow's hope. Night falls quickly over the mountains. By the time the first star appears, the small house at the forest edge is already dark. Inside, the old oil lamp flares with a soft hiss. Its yellow glow is weak, but tonight it feels warm. Huyen kneels beside the basin, still wearing thick gloves. She lifts a handful of yam slices. The harsh lime smell has faded. She rinses them until the water runs clear. Beside her, Uncle Day crouches by the stove, stacking dry branches. Soon, fire crackles under the blackened pot. Maya stands at the doorway, schoolbook in hand. Mom, can I help? She asks. Wash your hands first, Huyen smiles. Then come learn how to shape cakes. Maya rushes to the water jar, scrubs quickly, and dashes back. Huyen gathers the softened yam into a cloth, twisting with all her strength. Starchy water runs out in a cloudy stream. What remains is pale, heavy pulp. Now the magic, Dee says, setting a small bowl of moonbean filling on the mat. The beans are soft, mashed with a little salt and sugar, the last spoonful from their jar. Huyen sprinkles rice flour into the pulp, kneading until it becomes smooth dough. She pats it into a roll on the low table. "Watch carefully, Maya," she says. "If you learn this well, you'll never go hungry." "I'll learn," Maya answers. "I'll make cakes and still study and become a teacher." "Then this is your first lesson, Teacher Maya," Huyen says. She pinches off bits of dough, flattens them, spoons in bean filling, and closes the edges. Maya copies her, tongue sticking out in concentration. Her cakes are lumpy and crooked, but each is made with pride. Day lines the steamer with banana leaves. Bibi circles under the table, tail wagging. "You wait for the broken ones," Dee tells her. Soon the steamer is full. Water boils, sending up clouds of steam. The tiny kitchen fills with the warm smell of yam and beans. They sit on the old mat, waiting. Maya leans against her mother, eyelids heavy. Day rubs his sore wrist. "How many cakes is this?" Maya mumbles. "Enough for dinner and breakfast," Huyen replies. "And if the rest are pretty, enough for the market." "Enough for my notebooks?" Maya asks. "And maybe new sandals if we're lucky," Day adds. Her eyes pop open. "Really? Only if you help sell," Huyen teases. "Customers like sellers who smile." Maya practices in a tiny, serious voice. "Hello, Auntie. Please try our yam cakes. Thank you very much." Day and Huyen share a proud look. At last, Huyen lifts the lid. Steam bursts out, hot and fragrant. Inside, the cakes sit round and plump. She tears one open. Soft dough stretches to reveal golden bean filling. "Careful, it's hot," she says, blowing on a piece and placing it in Maya's hand. Maya takes a bite. Her eyes light up. "So good. Better than the market ladies." De chews his and nods. "I think our little chef is right." Huyen laughs, but tears blur her eyes. No rice, no meat, only wild yam from the forest. Yet her family is chewing happily. De notices. He touches her shoulder. "Today we eat. Tomorrow we sell, one step at a time." "Long ago, Dad made these so I wouldn't starve," she whispers. "Now I make them so my child can study." They keep steaming batch after batch, wrapping each cooled cake in clean banana leaves. The pile on the woven tray rises. Outside, neighbors' lamps go dark, but their house stays awake. Maya falls asleep on the mat, half a cake still in her hand. Bibi curls against her legs. Huyen pulls a blanket over them while Day watches the final tray. More than 80 cakes, Huyen counts softly when they finish. "If we sell them all, it will be enough." "It's a beginning," Day says. They store the trays high, safe from ants, then sit quietly. "Do you think we can really change our life with things we dig out of the ground?" Huyen asks. Day takes her rough hands. "With these," he says, "and with what the forest gives for free, yes." Slowly. She leans her head on his shoulder. For the first time in a long while, she falls asleep thinking about tomorrow with hope. Before dawn, the rooster's cry breaks the gray sky. Huyen wakes, relights the fire, and reheats a few cakes. Maya dresses sleepily, but when she sees the baskets by the door, excitement replaces her yawns. "Are we really going to the market?" she asks. "Eat first," Huyen says, handing her a warm cake. "You'll need strength to smile." Maya grins. "I'll smile until my face hurts." They load the cakes into 2 baskets and hang them from a bamboo pole. De shoulders most of the weight, Huyen carries a smaller tray, and Maya trots between them. The path to the market winds down the hill. Morning air smells of wet soil and wood smoke. Other villagers join the trail with baskets and sacks. "Yam cakes today?" someone asks. "Yes," Huyen answers. "Please come taste them later." By the time they reach the market, the sun is a pale coin above the ridge. They claim a small spot near the entrance. Dee spreads a mat. Huyen arranges the cakes in neat rows, banana leaves shining. She smooths Maya's hair. Ready? Maya nods. Ready? The first customer is an old woman drawn by the smell. She peers down. What are these, child? Maya's heart thumps, but she remembers. Auntie, these are wild yam cakes, she says. We made them last night. Would you like to try one? The woman buys one, bites in, and her eyes brighten. Oh, these are good. Give me 3 more. Coins clink into Huyen's hand. Something in her chest loosens. More people come. Some buy one to taste, then turn back for more. Maya thanks each person. Day quietly refills the front row. Bit by bit, the pile shrinks. Near midday, only a few cakes remain. Huyen counts the crumpled bills and coins. It's more than she hoped. Enough for rice, oil, a little fish, and notebooks and pens. At the stationery stall, Maya hugs the new supplies to her chest. Her eyes shine as if she's holding the whole world. Walking home, the basket's empty. Huyen feels light. Dee walks beside her, smiling. Maya skips ahead, waving her notebooks. From roots dug in free forest soil, from calloused hands and sleepless hours, they have turned wild yams into food, money, and dreams. Step by step, cake by cake, they are building a future with their own hands, a future where hunger retreats, where Maya can keep studying, and where, in their small house at the forest's edge, the whole family can truly be happy and hopeful for the days to come. Huyen and her husband dig wild yams from the harsh forest, believing one good harvest can feed their family and buy school books for their daughter Maya. Carefully peeling and soaking the roots, Huyen remembers her father, who once used the same cakes to save her from hunger. Together, they turn the starchy pulp into soft dough, fill it with mung bean, and steam fragrant cakes late into the night. Each cake becomes both dinner and tomorrow's chance. At dawn, they carry baskets to the village market. With shy but determined smiles, Maya helps sell the cakes to curious customers. The family earns enough to buy rice, fish, and precious notebooks. From free forest roots, hard work, and love, they slowly build hope and a more secure future. Their tiny home glows with laughter, warmth, and slowly growing dreams.